What's going on, guys? This is John Zaccari, and today I want to talk about a recent interview with Nintendo of America President Reggie Fils-Aimé, where he mentioned that Nintendo has, quote, big E3 plans for 2017. Of course, this sent the internet into a swirl and has everyone speculating on what exactly those plans could be. Before I join in the speculation, let's keep in mind that it's kind of the job of these company heads to hype up their upcoming offerings. I mean, could you ever really see someone coming out and being like, yeah, we're not really going to have much at E3 this year, we're just kind of blowing it off altogether, to be honest. I mean, that would just never happen. Also, one aspect of the interview that kind of worries me is that he mentioned these big plans refer to both the Switch and the 3DS. If you follow my videos, you know I've been calling for them to at least start dropping support for the 3DS. I'm simply not going to be carrying around two portable devices with me, so it just doesn't make sense for me that Nintendo may end up competing with themselves in this field, and I also don't want to have to choose between the two when it comes to future games. So I think Nintendo should be starting to focus solely on the Switch. For Nintendo, there really has never been a better time for them to bust out the big guns than this year. The Switch has huge levels of momentum right now, but that's largely on the shoulders of Breath of the Wild, which will only last so long. Come E3, Nintendo is going to want to deliver big time to keep that hype up as we go into the holiday season. So let's do some speculating, shall we? As usual, I'll try to make some more realistic predictions, while also letting my emotions run wild a bit at certain points. First, I'd like to just get the 3DS out of the way. I really hope we don't see too much, honestly. Maybe deeper looks at some of the games we already know about, like Ever Oasis. Maybe like a Kirby game or something like that will be announced. But I don't want to see much on this. It's time to phase out the 3DS and focus solely on the Switch, which again has serious momentum, but right now, Nintendo's focus should be on keeping that up. So for the Switch, I think it would be good to get some Mario on this console. I know we got Odyssey coming out this holiday, but I'd like to see something before that. I mean, right now at least, with the absence of the Virtual Console, it feels just odd to me that we could be going for a fair while without any form of Mario game to play on this console, aside from Mario Kart 8, but I'm talking about the standard platforming Mario. It doesn't feel right. Well, E3 would be a good time to rectify that. Ever since the Wii U was announced to be an HD system, I've been hoping that Nintendo would do an HD remaster for Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. These are some beautiful games, but the only thing that really holds them back in today's standards, in my opinion, is the fact that they were on the Wii, which just wasn't an HD system. And while these are the ones I'd personally prefer, Super Mario Sunshine is another one I've seen many people mention, and I'd like to see that as well. Now, with Odyssey confirmed for this year, I get that this may not be the right time for this in some people's minds, but there is still quite a while between E3 and this holiday, and I think an HD remaster of any assortment of these games would be an amazing candidate for the "and it's available right now" sort of announcement. Yeah, if you regularly watch the E3 conferences, you know these companies like to do these stealthy announce release combo sorts of deals during the event, where a game is available to play soon after it's announced during the show. A title like this would really generate some hype in that department and would give people some Mario to hold them over until Odyssey releases. And speaking of Mario Odyssey, I think we'll get some extended gameplay of that title, perhaps a more live look breaking down some of the gameplay. Also, I imagine here we may see the announcement of some sort of Mario Odyssey bundle for the Nintendo Switch, which I think many will find exciting. I know there's a lot of people out there either holding off on the Switch until Mario Odyssey releases, or desperately looking to get their hands on a Switch in any way. And I think the holidays will be the next time, honestly, we'll see the major refresh of Switches, and by that point, they'll probably be pretty easy to walk into a store and buy. Some other upcoming titles that we know about will probably also get some extended looks, like Xenoblade 2, Fire Emblem Warriors, that Suda game, the new Square Enix game, that sort of stuff, the ones that have already been announced. Hopefully with release dates, especially Xenoblade. Boys, I want to believe the game will arrive in 2017, but it's hard for me considering this series' history. I'm sure it's going to be great nonetheless. And what about Breath of the Wild? The game's been out for a while, just receiving insane praise across the board. That is, unless you're someone who determines your review scores based on what will give you the most clicks. But it's got that additional DLC that's been in the works. I think we'll get some sort of tease on what that's actually going to look like. And if they're smart, they'd already be planning for more. After the waves this game has made, I think they're crazy if they don't try to milk this sucker for all it's worth. And when DLC is done right, something that really feels supplemental and more than some tacked on crap or something that was just removed from the original game, I'm all for it. I think there's a good chance we'll get at least one Wii U game announced to be ported to the Switch, and my money is on Smash Brothers. Already a great game with tons of content. Bring over a package that includes all the DLC, similar to what we're seeing with Mario Kart 8, and it'll be something tempting, especially for someone like me who never bought any of the Wii U DLC. I still think we'll get another Smash game on the Switch down the line, but this way people have a Smash title to play now, rather than waiting years just for the next game to get announced. In terms of brand new games, I think Pikmin 4 is the most for sure announcement we'll see. We've known about the game for a while now. I think it was like mid-2015 or something, when Miyamoto first mentioned he was working on it. Details have been kinda sketchy since then, but it's gotta be pretty far along, certainly far enough for them to show us something. We assumed back then that the game was going to be for the Wii U, but now obviously there's no way that's the case. It's going to be on the Switch, and rightfully so. Perhaps the title most shrouded in mystery is whatever Retro Studios is working on. People have been pestering them, well, since the release of Tropical Freeze, as to what the next game they'll be working on is. And these bastards have been practically radio silent. We know nothing, and I hope it stays that way, as that's an impressive feat in the gaming industry these days, and I also hope they can keep things under wrap until what I'm assuming will be the big reveal at E3. Now, I don't want to speculate too much on what I think that game will be, as I'm going to talk about that at the end. But all I can say for now is I hope it's not Donkey Kong. They did an amazing job with the series, don't get me wrong, and Tropical Freeze is easily on my list for the top 5 games for the Wii U. But I think it's time for them to move on to something else. And that's not to say I wouldn't like to see Donkey Kong here, just not from them. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least suggest the potential that there could maybe, possibly, be a chance that we see Pokémon for the Nintendo Switch. I'd say it's a big long shot, unless it's that once rumored Pokémon Stars, maybe. But as far as what we really want, a title built from the ground up for this current gen console, I don't think it's time yet. And even more unlikely, while we're on that topic, as a huge survival horror fan, the resurrection of the Eternal Darkness series is always in the back of my mind. It seems like any hopes of this series making a return were kind of crushed a while back, but it's always a possibility, and as long as it's possible, I'll be waiting for it. And in terms of third parties, there's one franchise that I'm really dying for. If this one game gets revealed, then I'm done. This E3 can wrap up right after it, and I'll scream from the rooftops how Nintendo dominated E3. If you follow my channel, you can probably guess that game is Monster Hunter. One of my favorite franchises, period, and one that I think would do particularly well on the Switch. It satisfies so many aspects as far as something you can sink hundreds of hours into easily, great multiplayer, and an experience that has already long proven it works well on a portable. Especially something built from the ground up with the Switch power in mind. Oh, the Switch isn't that powerful? Oh, shut the fuck up. With many recent Monster Hunter titles, we've seen things designed for handhelds making their way to home consoles, or past home console games coming forward to new ones, but finally, I think we'll see something designed specifically for a more powerful HD system, just for the Switch. I can't wait. Please, Nintendo, Capcom, make it happen. In terms of multi-platform games, it seems to me like the one that is most likely, from what I've been reading, is Dark Souls. In some form, whether it's Dark Souls 3 or a collection of the trilogy, just something, I think it's going to be there. It's another title that there's just been a lot of word that it's coming. Reports have been coming out for a while that From Software has been working on getting Dark Souls 3 running on the Switch and has been successful, and From Software is on that list of Nintendo Switch partners, which kind of begs the question, what else could it be besides Dark Souls? If true, I hope they do consider some sort of trilogy collection, or even selling Dark Souls 3 on its own and bundling the past two games together in something separate. Collections in general, I think, are something all third parties should be considering with the Switch, as you have this big fan base who hasn't experienced a lot of these games. I mean, if you're someone who plays primarily Nintendo systems, chances are you've missed out on a lot of games these past generations. If you're a third-party developer wanting to bring something to the Switch, want to test those waters, I think a collection is the way to go. Also, I think it'd be cool if, following whatever this announcement is, From Software teased that something else would be coming from them for the Switch. Like, Bloodborne is currently my favorite PS4 game, which is basically Dark Souls with a more Victorian-esque theme. I think it'd be amazing if they did something similar for the Switch, an exclusive Souls-type game built specifically for that platform. And as far as big third-party surprises, I'm always holding out for Bayonetta 3. I still maintain that Bayonetta 2 was the single biggest news story for the Wii U. When people found out it was going to be a Wii U exclusive, people flipped their shit. Some sincere raging here, and not just by comment trolls, but by major news outlets like, oh, it's actually kind of BS that Bayonetta 2 is a Wii U exclusive. Like, salt much? Yeah, I wouldn't mind a repeat of that, but also, the game was awesome, and again, potential for a collection. Give us a deluxe or collector's edition that includes all three games. Give those who cried about the Wii U release, but now have a Switch, a chance to play Bayonetta 2. And of course, to close out the show, there's really only one franchise I think should get this honor. The one that you'll find in every forum and comment section where gamers discuss the games they'd like to see from Nintendo. Of course, Metroid. And again, this goes back to Retro Studios. The words we have been getting, the rumors at least, about what they've been working on, a lot of them seem to point back to Metroid. But regardless, our girl Samus has just been treated unfairly, in my opinion, for too long. I mean, we're going on a decade soon between major releases in this franchise, and I honestly think Samus, at this rate, could be on her way to becoming the next Captain Falcon, in terms of how Captain Falcon is primarily referred to as a Smash Bros. Character, rather than being recognized for his own actual franchise F-Zero. Sure, for some of us older gamers, this may seem crazy because of the storied history of Metroid, but think of younger players. If you've been growing up as a gamer, you haven't seen a major entry in this series yet. Is it crazy to think these people might not be as familiar with it? Samus needs to come back in a big way. Now, in the past, I've pitched my dual game idea, giving us a 2D side-scroller as well as a 3D, more Metroid Prime type title. While I'd still love to see fans of both versions of Metroid get an awesome new game, I think the only way we'd see this right now at least is if one title was for the 3DS and one was on the Switch. So for now, I'd be fine with just one major release for the Switch. I'm all about pushing the Switch, as you can see. Even though this may seem like a long shot to some, I think Metroid's appearance is pretty likely. Nintendo is reminded on social media on practically a daily basis of the demand for a core Metroid title from fans. And as far as those who have fallen out of love with Nintendo over recent years, what better franchise to get them back in? Again, something in the vein of the Prime series casts a pretty wide net. It would probably even entice many who haven't had much interest in the Switch up to this point. And how about catching those people up, as again, it's been a while since we've seen a big Metroid game. Well, simple. Again, collections! Collections, people! Are you getting this yet? Yeah, let's get a Prime Trilogy HD collection for the Switch. Another beautiful title, in my opinion, that could really benefit from a simple fresh coat of paint and bringing it up to HD resolution. Now tell me that wouldn't sell. Geez, this went on a bit longer than I anticipated. It will be fun to edit this thing together, that's for sure. But I'll wrap it up here. Let me know what you think Nintendo has planned for this year's E3 in the comments. Let me know both what you think we'll see and more of the things you want to see. And if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to my channel now, and you can say you were a subscriber before it was cool. As always, I'm John Zaccari, and thanks for watching.